Shazell walked into the bar and looked around. He spotted the individual he was looking for, alone at a table in the back. He walked towards the table, his antennae drooped in fatigue and frustration. Despite his attempt to act nonchalant, anyone able to read Volzel's body language would see how agitated he was. Without even asking, he pulled out a chair and sat down. The Dugaad looked up at the disturbance and relaxed when he saw who it was. Shazell didn't even notice him putting his blaster back in a holster. "Shazell, you know better than to do that. You almost got several new openings in your thorax," Caal said. Shazell visibly paused before apologizing. "I'm sorry, Caal. I wasn't thinking." Caal looked longer at the Volzel and perked up. "What's got you so agitated, Shaz?" "I've been given a task, directly from Prince Samum, to find a team of assassins to eliminate a rival family. But I've failed to find a guild willing to do the task." He complained. He continued. "I was hoping you could put me in touch with the Crimson Claw Guild. I can, for a price. But you understand the Crimson Claw does not come cheap," Caal answered. "I understand. But they are my last option of the assassin guilds," Shazell replied. Caal stepped away for a moment and spoke with a young Fildry. He returned to his seat before saying, "He'll relay your request to the guild leader, and if he accepts, we'll have an answer within the hour. Now have a drink and relax." Caal finished. It was less than an hour when a Dugaad joined them. He moved with such stealth that Shaz didn't even notice him until he sat down. Without even introducing himself, he spoke. "You have a contract that you wish to have the Crimson Claw fulfill?" More than a little intimidated, Shaz stammered. Yes, I do." The assassin spoke again. "The Crimson Claw does not come cheap, for we always fulfill a contract. Who is the target?" Shaz sighed with relief. "The Trekken royal family, all of them," he replied. The assassin nodded and began to speak. "That will be very expensive to perform," paused mid-sentence. "Did you say the Trekkens?" he asked in an alarmed tone. Shaz nodded an affirmative, and before he could even say a word, the assassin jumped up so fast he knocked over his chair. He stared accusingly at Caal. "You never said anything about humans being involved." "You should have mentioned the target when you contacted me," he practically shouted, a mix of anger and fear in his voice. "You know the Trekken's royal family has human bodyguards." Caal raised his hands in a placating gesture, his voice tinged with fear at the assassin's reaction. "I didn't know the target before I contacted you. I swear!" Shaz sat speechless, surprised by the assassin's reaction. He wasn't sure, but the way both Dugaad furtively scanned the room gave an impression of near terror. The assassin stood up, looked at Shaz and said firmly, "We will not take this contract and never contact us again," and then hurried off. Caal glared at Shaz. "Were you trying to get me killed?" Shaz stumbled over his words. "No, I didn't realize he would kill you over this meeting." Caal shook his head. "Him?" He nodded towards the departing Dugaad. "No, fool, not him," he practically hissed. "The humans! That explains why none of the other guilds would take the job." Shaz looked perplexed as he said, "Who or what are humans?" Caal stared at him in shock. "Wait, you don't know about humans?" Shaz shook his head negatively. "No. Should I?" Caal muttered something under his breath, in his language, before switching back to Galactic Basic. "The average human is very dangerous, but human bodyguards are extremely dangerous. No one takes on human bodyguards and lives to tell the tale. Any attempt is met with swift and unpleasant retaliation." Caal stared into the Volzel's eyes. "They will hunt down the assassin, anybody connected to the guild they belong to, anyone involved in facilitating the contract, and those that put the contract out. In case it is not clear, that includes us." Caal continued. "The humans have one of the best intelligence agencies in the galaxy, and the Human Bodyguard organization has access to it. They stop many plots before they get to the planning stage." Caal glanced around before continuing. "Even success is a failure. There will be nowhere for the assassins to hide. The humans see it as a stain on their honor and will do everything needed to restore their honor. There is nowhere to hide from them, and no expiration time of their pursuit." Caal explained. "At least one time, it took 5 years to find and eliminate their target." Shazell was extremely alarmed at all this. "What do? Are we doomed? Is there any way out? Caal replied, the best thing to do is forget this assignment completely and hope they are merciful. Shaz bowed in his people's form of thank you and hurried off. A beep from Caal's communicator let him know a new message had been received. Information received. Funds to be deposited in your account. Caal sighed in relief. Becoming an asset was a good way to avoid the human's wrath. Caal thought to himself, the message was unsigned and untraceable. 2 days later, Shazell was on a ship home when he got the news that Prince Samum had been killed in a fall from his balcony and impalement on the fence below. It was shortly after that when he received a short message on an encoded channel, and almost immediately after receiving word of the prince's death. Leniency granted, cost to be discussed at a later date. Again, unsigned and untraceable, Shaz sighed in relief, but wondered what it meant by cost.